family. Tell me, are you ready? To build back a country. We forward with Kid Rowley. When are you ready then? Let's do this. Tobago, are you ready? Let's do this. Rolling with the red army. For the love of your country, place your vote with the PNM family. Tobago, get ready.
Shamfa and Diana, I listen to you, and you are indeed shining examples of young women who are committed to building Trinidad and Tobago. You are true PNM women. You will represent us well come September 8th when you are victorious. It has been said that when women are empowered as political leaders, countries experience higher standards of living. It is said that when women are so empowered, positive development can be seen in education, infrastructure, and health. It is said that their participation positively affects communities, legislators, and citizens' lives. For the past 5 years, however, we have seen, unfortunately, that there can be some exceptions to what is said about female leaders. We, however, as women, as PNM women, are not to be daunted by that exception. The PNM is fielding 14 female candidates who are vying to participate in the governance of Trinidad and Tobago. We know that if these ladies are successful at the polls, they will not disappoint us. As Lady Vice Chairman of the PNM, Mrs. Camille Robinson-Reggie, said earlier this year, an election year for the women of the People's National Movement is one in which the women come out in all their glory in every constituency and take charge of making sure that we win in our constituencies. Shamfa and Diana, rest assured that your colleagues in the Women's League will take care of you. We all will take care of you. The general election is now 10 days away, and you have given me a platform to speak to you about women who are committed to Trinidad and Tobago. I am one such woman. But my address to you will take a different slant. I am not going to talk to you about me or women's issues today. I want to take this opportunity that you have given to me to speak to you about one man. A man who will lead a PNM government in its desire to promote the full and equal participation of men and women in the development of Trinidad and Tobago. That man is a man from Mason Hall, Tobago. That man is the man I married 30 years ago. A man who is truly committed to seeing a better Trinidad and Tobago. A commitment to Trinidad and Tobago which will ensure that our commitment as women to a better Trinidad and Tobago will be realized. He is the man at my side. I am the woman at his side, not behind him. Now, I choose to speak to you today about Keith Christopher Rowley, my husband, one of the applicants for the post of Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. The people of Trinidad and Tobago constitute the interview panel for that job. Our women form a significant part of this national panel of interviewers. There are those who will select him because they think that he is capable of doing the job. And there are those who will hesitate because they think he can't make the grade. On September 7th, we will vote for the People's National Movement, even though there are some who don't care about the man who leads. But there are some who vote for the man and the party, not only because they love the man, but because they know that he truly has the interests of the party and the country at heart. I am one such person. I have listed myself in Keith's application for the post of Prime Minister as one of his references. And today, I will take this opportunity to tell you why I think he should be selected for the post of Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I stand before you here today as a wife who loves her husband. A wife who knows that her husband will be an extraordinary Prime Minister. I stand before you as a mother who has raised two beautiful daughters who, as national scholars, are committed to the service of this country. I stand before you as a grandmother of an adorable baby boy who we will teach to be committed to Trinidad and Tobago. In 1985, I married a man who was a geologist by profession. He had double first-class honors in geology and a PhD in geochemistry. He knew every facet of rocks and volcanoes. And so passionate was he about his profession that our first vacation after our honeymoon saw us climbing Soufriere volcano in St. Vincent, when we could have been lying on the beach relaxing at Pigeon Point in Tobago. But no, Soufriere volcano, hike to the top. Keith was a man who said that the best book he ever read was Arthur Holmes's Physical Geology. That was his sole passion at the time. However, in 1986, the geologist I married became a full-fledged politician, and that move changed our lives forever. The making of political speeches became his domain, and speaking up with truth, conviction, and courage on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago became his life's calling. For the past 30 years, I have been at Keith's side, as he has clamored for a better Trinidad and Tobago, a Trinidad and Tobago in which all of us have a sense of place and belonging. There are no second-class citizens in that place. Keith has fought for those who can't fight for themselves, from his service in Parliament to his service at the cabinet level and to his leadership of the People's National Movement. He has at all times stood up for what is right. For those 30 years that we have been together, I have supported my husband every step of the way, while at the same time devoting myself to the upbringing of my daughters and my job as an attorney at law. I have had no regrets. And I have had no regrets because Keith's sacrifice of his family life, though painful as it was for him, was a sacrifice made for the development of Trinidad and Tobago, a Trinidad and Tobago which we are both committed. On September 7th, we will choose the government which we think will take us forward. This election will shape our future, the future of our children and our grandchildren. A future in which self-government for Tobago will be realized because of the conviction of the Tobagonian who will lead this government. A conviction which will realize the vision of Arthur Napoleon Robinson 38 years ago, when he placed internal self-government for Tobago on the national agenda. It is a future in which the ideal of one Trinidad and Tobago would be realized, one nation united, one family, perfectly blended. Keith has committed himself to a leadership that rises above political divisiveness, a leadership which brings us together, not pushes us apart. He understands that important decisions must be made about our country, and I am confident that he can and will make those decisions. Keith understands what it means for a community to unite to do what it must, to ensure that even the most unlikely child has the opportunity to reach his or her greatest potential. He understands this because he was that child. Like so many in Trinidad and Tobago, Keith was raised by his grandparents. He grew up in Mason Hall at a time when the village elders regarded it as their responsibility to contribute to the development of all the children in the village. It was a place where licks were shared by the neighbor if he got out of line. It was a place where he could walk to school without shoes, alongside a boy who had shoes, and not be envious of that boy. It was a time when the pride of his grandparents, when he passed common entrance for bishops, was the village's pride. Keith's grandparents instilled in him the timeless values of honesty, of integrity, and scholarship, as many of our parents have. They taught him that his word mattered. His grandparents taught him that you must work hard for what you want in life, just as they worked hard. They taught him that your goals should look beyond purely personal pursuits. In their own way, they taught him to dedicate himself to the development of Trinidad and Tobago, as well as himself. His grandparents taught him that he should stand tall, hold his head high, and speak boldly in the face of adversity. One of the most important things which Keith's grandparents instilled in him was an unshakable faith in God, a faith that never gives up, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance, a faith that never fails. To this day, it is Keith's faith that sustains him. It is his bedrock. Every morning, he begins the day in prayer, and now, more than ever, in the face of unrelenting attacks of those who fear his resilience, he turns to the verses of Psalm 91. The Lord is his refuge and his fortress. Keith knows that once he dwells in the shelter of the Most High, the shadow of the Almighty will protect him. The blood of Jesus will cover him. That Mason Hall village life during Keith's formative years forged the man of strength, faith, and fortitude which we know today. Those years shaped his resolute belief in family and country, a country in which we all have an obligation to fight for the world as it should be. Keith knows what ordinary men and women can accomplish when they come together. He believes there is so much more that holds us together than divides us. That is one of the reasons why he is running for Prime Minister, to defend the simple belief that no one should be left out or left behind. He knows what it will take to build a stronger and more prosperous Trinidad and Tobago. He knows what it will take to ease the economic and social burdens we carry. He knows what this country needs. Yes, he knows what Trinidad and Tobago needs. We need the best education for every child. We need equal opportunities for men and women. We need jobs and training for all who can work. We need proper health care. We need housing. We need an end to the rampant crime which seeks to steal our hope and our security. We need leaders who put the people before themselves. Keith believes, as I do, that the faith of every Trinbagonian in each other is strong enough to make that Trinidad and Tobago, to build that Trinidad and Tobago. It is strong enough to bring hope to mothers who cannot afford to take care of their children. It is strong enough to bring safety and security to our streets. It is strong enough to turn our young men away from drugs and violent gangs. It is strong enough to encourage our young people to take full advantage of the free education which Dr. Eric Williams gave to us. So, as Keith's wife, as the mother of his daughters and his friend for over 30 years, I can tell you that as Prime Minister, Keith Christopher Rowley will advocate in the best interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. He will advocate in your interests. He will lead a government that roots out the greed, the corruption, the recklessness and arrogance that we have experienced over the past 5 years. He will lead a government that is guided by spiritual and moral values. We, you and I, the men and women of Trinidad and Tobago, must make a commitment on September 7th to the future of our children and our grandchildren. We must commit ourselves to a Trinidad and Tobago where, with discipline, production, and tolerance, every creed and race will find an equal place. Thank you. God bless you, and may God bless Trinidad and Tobago.
PNM country, people in the east, who you voting for? We voting for Ayana, we voting for Ayana. People in the east, PNM people, who you voting for? We voting for Ayana. Hey, a woman of merit, and she moving fast. Tobago East PNM candidate, she a class, a visionary. They can't handle she is the best choice that they ever make for we. A woman of substance, committed and wise, cutting the opponents down. Don't look at your size. When this election over, we swearing in Ayana.
I can assure you my decision to go into politics was not an easy one, but I came to it after much prayers, consultation, and reflection. PNM sisters, women of Tobago, I have lived the uncertainty and joy of pregnancy. I endured the pain and pleasure of childbirth. And now I face the ambiguity and hope of raising 3 children in this nation called Trinidad and Tobago. Because of this, I wanted to do all in my power to inform the type of society my children, your children, and future generations of Trinbagonians inherit. Amidst the social and economic decline and the reign of decadence, I needed to take a brave leap of faith and enter into the arena that some have professed to have a morality of its own. I was compelled to step up to the plate because too many good women, too many good sisters have decided to sit on the sidelines and pass judgment. I had to put on the breastplate of courage like Esther in the Bible and do what is right and necessary to save my nation. Sisters, women of Tobago and Trinidad, we have existed in conditions over the last 5 years that may be likened to the biblical Great Tribulation. We have endured the blistering reign of the People's Partnership Government and a leader who some may characterize as Jezebel in the Book of Kings. Almost 5 years ago, sisters, we entrusted our nation to the People's Partnership Government. And we, like the master in the parable of the 5 talents, have come to realize that the outcome of everything depends on whose hands it is placed for nurturing. Like a modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah, Trinidad and Tobago has entered into a state of decline. Corruption is the order of the day. Crime is at an all-time high. Our national economy is at a standstill with little or no growth occurring. Our nation's youth are disillusioned. Nepotism reigns, and there is wickedness, plenty wickedness in high places. Sisters, my PNM sisters, sisters of Tobago, it is our duty to vote against the current state of affairs. It is your duty and my duty to call a fellow sister into account for the wounds she and her minions inflicted on our nation over the last 5 years. Let us, the women of 2015, endeavor to go down in history like those other great women who would have influenced change locally and internationally. Sisters of the PNM, we have been the backbone of this great institution called the People's National Movement. We, through a strong following of women and the various chapters of the Women's League, have been the pillar of strength holding up our political leaders and the party over the years. We, through our prayers, have helped this party stay the course for coming close to 60 years. Sisters, more than ever, we need to make our voices heard loud and clear in support of our party and our great leader. We need to proceed with faith like Deborah in the Bible and rally the troops because we are heading into battle. We must stand with our leader prayerfully and fearlessly, opposing all who come against him and this great party. We have the power of influence, women. Yes, women of Trinidad and Tobago. We have the power of influence. I encourage you to use your power of influence for good, not evil. Educate those who may not know the contribution that this great party has made to the development of our island, our nation, and our people. Use your power of influence to sway the undecided and the uncommitted so we can bring home victory at the polls come September 7th. More importantly, let us support a party that has always respected and valued the contribution of women. Under the People's National Movement, women's overall participation in national leadership and the decision-making has increased exponentially. In fact, women's political participation within the People's National Movement is far ahead of other political parties and even exceed international benchmarks. Because of the People's National Movement has always supported women and encouraged the advancement of women, we are where we are today. The PNM would have ensured that institutions and policies were developed to facilitate an enabling environment for all of us to benefit. The PNM brought free education to all, including women of Trinidad and Tobago. The PNM established our NIS system and instituted maternity benefits so we could birth future generations of leaders without fear of victimization. The PNM established free health care, inclusive of prenatal and postpartum care for women, thus ensuring our optimal health at a time we are most vulnerable. The PNM developed programs such as CPEP and URP to act as social safety nets for us women. The PNM established the Foundation for Gender Equality, where women can expect equal pay for equal work, just like the men of Trinidad and Tobago. Right here in Tobago, we mostly have women heading our divisions as administrators. Our PNM-led Tobago House of Assembly has provided opportunities for growth and development for us women through various training programs and assistance with business development. A large percentage of the beneficiaries of the various grants and loans coming out of the Division of Finance and Enterprise Development has been women and youth. Hats off to you, Mr. Jack. The Division of Health and Social Services continue to invest in us women, providing opportunities for us to become financially independent through initiatives such as the REACH program. Hats off to you, Mrs. Groom-Duke. In the division where I built my career as a community development worker, opportunities are made available for women to excel in the creative and cultural industries. Hats off to you, Councillor Dr. Angus. Yes, yes, PNM women. Yes, sisters. Yes, women of Tobago. We can be proud and appreciative of the contribution the PNM Assembly and past PNM governments made to our development. Just as the People's National Movement worked for women in the past, the PNM will continue to work for women of this great nation going forward. Sisters and even brothers, I'm talking to you now. Look, they have selected 2 young women in whom you will be well pleased. And they selected us to champion the cause of Tobago and women in the House of Representatives. Sisters, I want to give you the assurance, Shamfa Kojo and I will work for you in the House of Representatives, and we will work earnestly on your behalf. We will ensure that our manifesto promises in regard to Tobago are delivered. More importantly, we will join the other 12 female candidates to champion the cause of women and children in the Parliament. We need you to come on board with us and encourage your family to come on board. Come on board, Team PNM, because that is the only way we will be able to make the vision a reality. Sisters, what Kamla Prasad and her sisterhood failed to do, have confidence it will be done through Ayana Webster-Roy in Tobago East and Shamfa Kojo in Tobago West, and the 12 other female candidates of the People's National Movement. Have confidence, sisters and brothers. It will be done under the leadership of our own Tobago boy, hard-working, sincere, lovable, generous Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, and a PNM government. Brothers and sisters, especially the women of Tobago listening, we have been appointed and we have been anointed. We have come into a season and we step boldly forth with confidence in our God to declare victory on September 7th. I encourage all of you, all of Tobago, to join this winning team and encourage others to embrace our vision and our policy for the governance of this great nation. Brothers and sisters, women listening, those near and far, join this team and come the night of September 7th when the last ballot is counted and Ayana Webster-Roy is declared in Tobago East and Shamfa Kojo is declared in Tobago West, and by the grace of God all the seats are declared in Trinidad PNM. We shall all sing a song of praise. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And we shall always, always prevail.
People in the West, are you ready? Oh, yeah. Shamfa Kojo, PNM people. So you must put your X. We go vote in the West. PNM choose the best. Representative next. This woman ain't easy. This woman could talk. And all you don't doubt me, she could walk the walk. Just give she a chance. And all you go see how she will deliver.
Bonds Road, you looking good. 5 years later, Bonds Road women, how are you feeling? When this woman, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, came into power as the first female prime minister, there was a feeling of euphoria. You said, give her a chance. She had her chance, and she ruined the potential for any woman to ever become prime minister in the near future. In 5 little years, brothers and sisters, we went from singing We Would Rise to now today we're singing Bye-bye Kamla, bye-bye. Because you expected leadership with compassion. You expected leadership with order and leadership with integrity. But the first thing she did was promoted Reshmi. You remember that junior employee of SIS? That infamous telephone operator? And after that, she went firing woman left, right, and center. Mary King, fired. Verna St. Rose, fired. Nan Ramgolam, fired. Christlyn Moore, fired. Nicole Dyer Griffith, fired. Therese Baptiste Cornelius, fired. And the list goes on and on and on. Because she has left a trail of destruction and hurt on this country. So on September 7th, brothers and sisters, the people will elect the People's National Movement into government and provide a strong and stable government for Trinidad and Tobago. And I could say that with conviction. I could say this because the PNM is a strong, resilient party with the capacity to recreate ourselves. History had demonstrated that this country thrives under the leadership of the People's National Movement. And our political leader, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, has demonstrated that he has the confidence and the tenacity to make the hard decisions and to provide the leadership that is necessary to rebuild our institution. Brothers and sisters of Bourne's Road, there's an African proverb that I believe in. It says, "If I stand tall, it is because I stand on the backs of those who went before me." Tonight, my 13 sister candidates stand tall because we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. People's National Movement ladies have been blazing the trail of leadership in national development and politics from the very inception of this great party. You see, when Dr. Eric Williams created the People's National Movement, he built it sturdy, he built it strong, he built it to last. But as big and as strong as it was, he knew that he would run the risk of losing relevance and power if the women of the party were not made to play a critical role in this great development. Therefore, only 4 months later, on the 19th of May, the Women's League was formed. And since then, we, the women, have been the chief cooks and bottle washers of this party. If you've been around the People's National Movement long enough, you know the women run the engine room of the PNM. The absence of women on the forefront of the PNM means a spineless PNM, a toothless PNM, a powerless PNM. From administrative duties to public relations, the women run the engine room of the PNM. From canvassing to street mining, the women run the engine room of the PNM. From THA secretaries to members of parliament, the women run the engine room of the PNM. We are the voice. We influence the votes. We secure the victory for this great party. The women of the PNM are the backbone. Further, we are the life of our communities. We stay abreast of the issues. We keep our leaders grounded. Some say after God it's the police. In our communities, there is a culture that says after God it's the women of the PNM. The People's National Movement has always gone the extra mile to recognize and promote our youth and our women. Look at my sister candidates, brothers and sisters. Women of compassion, women of conviction, women of courage, and women of class. We in the PNM embrace the fact that women bring a special set of innate qualities to the party, to their community, to the parliament, to cabinet, to government. Women in leadership bring sound judgment. Women in leadership bring fiscal prudence, decency, order, compassion, and intelligence. Further, women are expected to create the environment to protect our children. Women are expected to preserve good morals, ethics, principles, and traditions in our independent institutions. Women promote order and ensure the rule of law. Women lead by example. Women are expected to raise up a standard. Women are expected to keep the peace and to make the difficult decisions. Unfortunately, brothers and sisters, this has not been our experience under Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Poor example for a leader, much less this country's first woman prime minister. 5 years later, under her reckless leadership, spite and malmanagement, this country cannot stand another day under this wicked, callous UNC government. 5 years, 35 ministers, $400 billion later, nothing to show but rampant instability and incessant squandermania. Poor governance plagued every nook and cranny of this country. Despotism has replaced the sacred tenets of democracy. Corruption has been intrinsically integrated in all our systems. We've lost confidence in our independent institution. This United National Congress administration has been the greatest drag on the advancement of this nation. We have suffered way too much. We have suffered far too long. Brothers and sisters of Bourne's Road, Trinidad and Tobago is crying out for restoration. Trinidad and Tobago is crying out for transformation. Trinidad and Tobago is desperate and they need a solution. That solution is the People's National Movement, the only bastion of hope, the only light at the end of the tunnel. The PNM has always had a history of standing up in the gap for the people of this country. We make the hard decisions, we make the sacrifices, and we are well prepared to get the job done. We offer ourselves, brothers and sisters, not because it is our turn or our birthright, but because we have done our homework and we are now ready to take action. While in opposition, we prepared ourselves for government. We've examined the issues and have come up with workable solutions. We've consulted with the stakeholders. We have learned from the government's mistakes and we have learned from our own mistakes too. So we stand, brothers and sisters, ready to rebuild this country because decent people deserve dignified leaders. Good communities deserve good representation. Right-thinking citizens deserve dignity and decency. A great country deserves a great party. Brothers and sisters, what better party at this time to lead us than the People's National Movement? If this country ever needed an organized, experienced, disciplined party, that time is now. If this country ever needed a leader of integrity, that time is now. If this country ever needed the People's National Movement, that time is now. If this country ever needed Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, that time is now. If Tobago ever needed an Ayana Webster-Roy in the east, that time is now. If Tobago ever needed a Shamfa Ashaki Kojo in the west, that time is now. Now, brothers and sisters, it is interesting that in Tobago I hear opponents talking about they're too young to go to parliament. They're too little. Parliament is not a place for little children. But as I sat among the fellow candidates here today, my head swelled when you listen to their accomplishments and their qualifications and all that they have achieved. And I say thanks to People's National Movement policy. So they call us little school boys and these little school girls, but that is one name that I wear as a badge of honor. Because if it weren't for the People's National Movement policy of GATE and social programs, we wouldn't be here today boasting of these qualifications. Because PNM policy changed lives. PNM policy improved our family. PNM policy enhanced our communities. So brothers and sisters, we stand here proud as PNM schoolgirls because it is the PNM that has educated us. This is a PNM story. From socks to stockings, a PNM story. From backpack to handbag, a PNM story, brothers and sisters. From plain white shoes to high heel boot, this is a PNM story. Brothers and sisters, you see they wasted their time, they had their chance and they blew it. 5 long years they sat there playing caddy and handmaiden for Kamala. Brothers and sisters, they spend their time in government, they wasted their time feeding out of the trough of the UNC and eating little peanuts out of Kamala hand. They wasted their time and have the audacity to ask us for 5 more years. Well, let it be known, brothers and sisters, that we have done the performance appraisals and we say no commendation and no approvals because 5 long years they have been sleeping on the job. 5 long years they've been eating a food on the job. 5 long years some of them been shopping on the job. 5 long years half of them been drinking on the job. 5 long years some of them smoking on the job. Brothers and sisters, they're going to be out of a job. haven't heard and eyes haven't seen the kinds of atrocities that we have endured under this wicked UNC. 5 long years we suffered. 5 long years we prayed. Brothers and sisters, we would have our say. 5 long years we've been under the attack, but brothers and sisters, we would stage the great fight back. Brothers and sisters, when what was once obscene has now become the norm, PNM Women, it's time to fight back. When your independent organizations are forced to abdicate their responsibilities and turn a blind eye and go silent, PNM Women, it's time to fight back. When child rights champions and women activists have lost their voices and whistleblowers can't seem to find their whistles, PNM Women, it's time to fight back. When a government lies in your face and then tells you that you misunderstand, PNM Woman, it's time to fight back. When cabinet ministers are fired for allegations of witness tampering and obstructing the course of justice, but show up on the same night, fetting with the same prime minister that fired them, PNM Woman, it's time to fight back. When cabinet ministers get fired for poor performance and mismanagement and rehired the next week to be advisors to the same ministers and ministries that they would have mismanaged, PNM people, it's time to fight back. When CPEP workers must report to political party meetings for pay and job security, PNM people, it's time to fight back. Tell your brother, tell your neighbor, tell your friend that this time we're rolling with the PNM. This time we're standing in defense of our families. This time we're standing in defense of our communities. This time we are standing in defense of our democracy. And this time we are taking back our country. One seat at a time, every constituency matter. One index finger at a time, every vote counts. They lose their deposits in the east. They lose their deposits in the west. They lose their deposits in San Fernando, and you know they're sure to lose their deposits in Tobago. Because brothers and sisters in Tobago, we sat quietly and we observed them from day one. And we started our fight back since the 2013 THA election. Then came local government and St. Joseph, and you kept the momentum. Now Trinidad, we are calling on you to join Tobago. Let's finish strong. 41 strong candidates. We read and we're ready. Join us on this journey. We read and we're ready. Taking back our country. We read and we're ready. Out and bad. We read and we're ready. Show them no mercy. We read and we're ready. Show them no remorse. We read and we're ready. Attack them with full force. We read and we're ready. Brothers and sisters, and on September 7th, when all is said and done, we have placed our votes and victory is won. We'll come back here or we'll meet in Woodford Square where we loudly sing our song. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And we shall prevail. And thank you.
Family, tell me, are you ready? To build back a country. Before with King Rowley. When are you ready then? Let's do this. Tobago, are you ready? Let's do this. Rolling with the Red Army. For the love of your country, place your vote with the PNM family. Tobago, get ready. Powered in with King Rowley. For the love of your country, make sure you vote with the PNM family. Say, come on, my people, let's stand together underneath the red, white, and black banner, yo. Burn out corruption like leaves, it a scatter. With tricks and insult, the people, they're flattered. The partnership done sink already. So vote PNM with Dr. Kid Rowley. Right leader, right time. I've made up my mind to build back the sweet paradise. Let's do this. Tobago, are you ready? Let's do this. Rolling with the Red Army. Let's do this. For the love of your country, place your vote with the PNM family. Tobago, get ready. Powered in with Kid Rowley. United Nations, the Caribbean envy. All of a sudden, like the place get heavy. Things not go right, cause God no like ugly. So come on my people, let's do this together. Vote PNM to uplift each other. So come on, the children deserve better. Brighter days, a beautiful future. Tobago, are you ready? Rolling with the red army. For the love of your country, place your vote for the PNM family. Tobago, get ready. Forward in with Kid Rowley. For the love of your country, make sure you vote for the PNM. Dr. Kid Rowley, a leader phenomenal. The partnership full of pirates and criminal. Send for the doctor cause the state is critical. Surgeon to perform and the country's political structure. And he is a doctor we need. 24 years veteran, born to lead. On the 7th of September, my country a plead for Dr. Rowley and the PNM team. Tobago, are you ready? Rolling with the red army. For the love of your country, place your vote for the PNM family. Tobago, get ready. Forward in with Kid Rowley. For the love of your country, make sure you vote for the PNM family. Big man thing is love we require to see Tobago higher and higher. And if you're ready, you know join us, my people, and come on.
Let's do this.
Tell them the 7th of September. Make it a day to remember. I put it down on your calendar. Well, old man to the station. This one is a serious mission. Well, all hands on deck. This is a matter of life and death. To tell me, are you ready then? I know I am ready. Tell me, are you ready? Let's do this.
Great is the PNM.